Hey guys, Daryl here with my buddy Jake, and today we're going to talk about his tray and canopy from Rebel Off-Road. All right guys, like I said, I'm here with my buddy Jake, and we're going to talk about his Jeep Gladiator, and he just recently went to Rebel Off-Road and purchased his tray and canopy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your whole rig in general?
So this is my 2020 Jeep Gladiator in pumpkin orange. I've had it for 4 years now, and most recently we upgraded, like Daryl said, with the Rebel Off-Road tray and canopy. And it's a two-part upgrade. You've got the tray or flatbed, and so that's this bottom part here, and it also includes the headache rack. And then the canopy bolts onto that. The tray has an 11-gallon water tank in it. You can see the readout here. So this comes on when you flip on the headlights, and so it illuminates and gets power to read your water level for you. And then you have your fill here. We have our Tyree lights that we can flip on from the auxiliary switch in the Jeep when we're pulling up to camp. And then the canopy bolts onto that, and then also part of the tray we have the toolboxes, so there's one on either side, and then what we call the trundle drawer at the rear, which we'll kind of go over and show you.
So real quick, I know just this last weekend you're in the forest.
Yep.
And the dusty roads and everything.
Yep.
How did the trays or the storage boxes, were they nice and
everything did great
up?
You can see the dust on the outside here.
Okay, yeah.
And then you can see on the inside, it's nice and clean, and it's a big, thick gasket there, nice fit. And so all that's in there. On this one right now, I have the awning, ratcheting straps to hold the awning open. And then this has, I added in this wiring for off-road compressor. And so I got a new one is coming in, and it'll get in there. So this will hold these, and then it'll hold my air up and down tools with that compressor. And that's what's going to go in this toolbox.
Nice.
And then let's go ahead and we'll show you this. So each canopy comes with 2 whale tail locks. They're lockable, same as the toolboxes. There's a set of keys or a key that locks the canopy, and then a separate key that locks everything on the flatbed. So it's just a quarter turn, and it's all gas strut assist and opens up. One of the upgrades that I did from Rebel, they have a few different tiers that you can purchase. You can do just the flatbed, you can do the flatbed and just the canopy. They have their stage 1, 2, and 3, which we have parts of each. I have the stand-up fridge, and so this is a Dometic 85-liter 12-volt fridge. And so it has the freezer and the top there. We like to keep tasty treats, so I get some peppermint bark, some chocolate. I've got, these were frozen in here, so I filled these with water and put them in yesterday when I went to the beach. And so we have big whiskey ball ice cubes for when we're at camp. And then,
isn't it funny how you have to sort of say,
yeah,
big balls?
Big balls.
Yeah, ice balls.
Ice balls.
Big ice balls.
But lots of storage in here for whatever you need, whether we're camping. Like I said, the big things that I like to do with my vehicles is go camping, trail ride in the forest, and set up on the beach with the family. So we stay packed and ready for that.
And that has a specific lock, so it won't go flapping open.
Yeah, and so you have this latch here to open and close, and then there's a slide here that slides over, and it allows that to be locked.
Nice.
Okay, so you have that sliding latch as well. What it's been taken out. What we set up here is I have a Milwaukee pack-out mount that bolts down to the floor, and then I use the Milwaukee pack-outs as my kitchen setup, and so that sets right here, and I have a multi-drawer system of theirs that holds that, and then I have a small-sized or a thin-sized with the large footprint that I'll use as a pantry. Okay, so I'll use that small one as a pantry, so you can push the drawers up when it's all locked down,
Right.
reach your dry goods, and it latches back up. And that just keeps everything nice and secure, allows it to be quick to access. You're not muscling around and wrestling around, and you don't really have to take it in and out. It can just be locked in here, and it makes it very easy to work out of. And then this beauty plate and this beauty plate, I designed and added in myself. And so I had the metal from Robinson's Custom Manufacturing in Ocala here, did that for me, and cut it out and put the bend in it, and then we wired in these rock lights, and I'll just show you those on the other side. We'll have the switch for that, and then the same on the plate in the back, and that allows me to have, we hardwired for sound, so we've got these Marine DS18 speakers and then charge cords, and this runs up and behind and through, and that wire goes in for the awning. So I have the 270-degree awning, and that then has lights in it. So the controller to plug that in is there.
So what we were talking about when I was here last.
Okay, so, and I think that was your idea.
Did you do the quick disconnect, or?
I did not. So we did
the compression fitting.
The compression fitting, so it's all sealed, and you can see I did some silicone around that.
Yep.
And that gives us a nice watertight fitting for the wire to run through, but that way,
because we had talked about, like, well, what if it's inclement weather and you want to shut this?
Exactly. And if that wire's through here, it's in the way. So now the wire is run through the wall, and then here's the controller for that. And it just stays up and in there. Okay. Let's walk around to the rear, and you can see this is part of the stage 1 upgrades that you can do when you purchase the Canopy. And that is the jerry holder, the ladder, and the spare tire mount. With running 38s, you cannot fit that underneath in the stock position where the spare tire goes. And so since I've upgraded to 38s, I've been running without a spare. Luckily, I've not needed it, but it's nice to now have that with me at all times. And Rebel designed this mount, and the way it sets, you can put a 40, and I think even all the way up to a 42 on there, and it will fit. And we even set the canopy, so when the rear canopy arms come around, it comes right to here.
Right.
And does. And that canopy has a rear D zipper, so that you could have your canopy deployed and still be able to access the rooftop through that canopy and not have to take it all the way down. I currently do not have a rooftop tent, but we're set up so that when we are able to do that upgrade, we're kind of ready to go.
I know it's probably for strength or whatever, but I'm figuring they probably did these holes to be able to mount something to them, possibly, or is that just part of their design?
It could just be, I don't know the answer for why. I would say it's probably weight saving, but it also is probably then a mounting point that you could strap something to that rear tire. There's different positions on the system for that tire to fit in, and then there's a different fitting for 8 lug versus the 5 lug,
right?
To mount that up. But again, the tire then sits right on this, so it's not bouncing, it's well supported underneath there.
Nice.
And then one of the upgrades that I added on separate was the power tank mount, which holds the 5-pound propane tank. So I have scuttle that we cook on will run on propane. We have a propane fireplace that we'll use, so to have propane available and at the ready is nice. At the bottom here we got the beauty plate. That's included part, and it just uses the factory Jeep recovery hooks, and so those are bolted in there.
These also Tyree?
And then we have our Tyree lights, yep, and these are hooked into when you put it into reverse.
Okay,
they fire up. So there is minimal white light that comes out of these LED lights for when you go into reverse, but these create a sea of light out of those Tyrees.
And then with that and the camera, you should be able to see just fine.
Exactly, and that's the factory camera that they take off of the tailgate, and it plugs and plays right in.
Okay.
So here's our trundle drawer. Again, this is a fully sealed box in the back with a big gasket.
About a good 4 feet long, isn't it?
I mean, it almost goes to the full length, so I bet you the inside measures almost
like for this
5.5 foot.
Yeah.
Yep. and then that's a gas strut assist, and we have storage. And this is stuff that I like to keep with me all the time. I have a nice high back chair from Helinox, keep the jet boil, stakes for staking down the awning, thunderbox for if you got to use the bathroom while we're trailing and off-road, axe, shovel, some extra fluids, engine oil, and then power steering fluid for my hydro assist. This is that propane fire that I talked about.
That vertical one.
That's the vertical one,
right.
And so far so good. We are enjoying that. And then I keep these nice quick dry, they don't hang on to the sand, towels, because again, we like to be able to hit the beach.
Right.
And then extra tie down stuff for the awning, and then sunscreen and WD and some of these nice roller cam for tying stuff down.
Yeah.
So,
and also it's sealed so well that you can notice there's dust around here, but nothing inside. So.
Yeah, and it's we went camping last Friday. Today is Thursday, so almost a week ago, you came out and visited us there at that campsite. And as we were packing up, it started to rain, so there was some rain droplets on this. I pushed it in, latched it up, drove home. When I got home and started deploying the awning and my hammock to dry things out, and brought this out, there was still, the water had just sat on the top here from that. So it, I mean, it stays sealed up, whether it's holding the water in or out. The far side, the passenger side, has kind of been the kitchen, and then this has been the storage side. You can see we have, this is their battery system that Rebel, it's one of the add-ons that you can do, and their system comes with these two 50 amp hour batteries and then all the wiring that you see here. So there's 4 pre-wired switches that you can just add your positive and then ground to utilize those. The one that we're using here is the refrigerator, and then this switch here turns on the rock lights on the doors. Those rock lights have a controller that's kept behind here that reads it, and so you have this remote, so it's RGBW, so we can set the different colors if you're into that. Really, for me, I just utilize the red and the amber for when we're out at camp, and then the white if you really need to brighten it up a bit.
You don't do your dance party lights?
Yeah, it does have a sensor, so you can hit the mode to go with the music if you really wanted that. I've added a 100 amp hour battery to this system, so we have a total of 200 amp hours, and this thing stays topped off even with the fridge running all the time. The 200 watt Renogy solar panel on the roof keeps everything topped off. I've not really seen it dip low at all, even when I'm using the power inverter. I've not seen it. You know, I fully charged a 60 volt DeWalt battery in 15 minutes on the fast charger, and it didn't drop it below 90%.
Nice.
And I have a coffee maker that we tried out on it, an espresso, and it, you know, in less than 5 minutes, the power was back to 100% off of the solar panel. So
you think you'll get into that? What's those cooktops now? They're
the
using
induction.
The induction.
I've considered it. I really enjoy cooking on the scuttle and doing that, so I don't know that I go to the induction cooker, because then you have to have extra pots and pans and all that stuff. I enjoy the scuttle and being able to do everything right on that.
Right.
So currently I'm happy with that, but we could do it that we have the power inverter,
right.
And that's a 2000 watt inverter. This is a custom made box, again from Robinson's, and this is the Bluetooth controller for the sound system.
Okay.
And so press and hold, and that baby fires up, and we just run it off of Bluetooth. So I'll travel with my iPad, and that way if I'm messing around on my phone, it doesn't interrupt the music, and I just will download playlists on that. So that's been a really nice addition. And then this is set up such that you can get to the wires from behind there.
Okay.
And it's stayed put even in all our trail riding that we've done so far. but that just allows to kind of hide that control unit and the wiring, and it kind of fit in perfect right with what was already here. So that's something that we just came up with.
So other than that, and other than the extra 100 amp hour battery, this is what you got.
This
from
is what you
Rebel.
get from Rebel.
Okay.
So this is the input from the alternator.
Mm-hmm.
This is the input from the solar charger. You have the power inverter. This is the solar charge controller.
Yep.
This is the dual battery isolator. So this senses when the alternator turns on and starts sending power, and then it tells the system to power. And then you have the monitor here, and then the switches and the fuses tied to all of that.
So make sure 12 volts and or
Yeah,
USBs. And...
we've got, there's USBs, 4 on here, there's 2 on the inverter, there's 2 in here, and then a 12 volt socket right there.
Definitely should be good to go with power.
Yeah, so you could charge enough for an army with all of that. Up the top here we have our nice table mount, and that mount Rebel makes for their Explorer racks, which is what I used to have on my stock Gladiator bed, is the Explorer mount, and I got that table mount to go with that system. We fitted it to work with the Canopy, and it's nice to have a hard table that just slides in and out. It's up and out of the way.
Yeah, 100%.
It's very functional, and is a nice thing to have in camp or on the beach, and it just in and out very quickly. You don't have to do all the packing, rolling. I had one that fit into a bag and it broke down nice and small and was lightweight, but that still took time to set up. This is very quick and then that much more sturdy and a nice height. So, and then here we can see our last toolbox, and on this side I keep all my recovery gear. You can see we got sand in there from we just were pulling people out on the beach. The last 2 trips we had to use the kinetic rope to pull somebody, and then I just winched out a guy in a 2-wheel drive Tacoma on the beach yesterday.
And these are from Adventure X Off-Road.
Adventure X Off-Road,
Right.
not to be confused with Adventure Off-Road X, our
right.
good buddy Steve's YouTube channel. So Adventure X Off-Road is a sponsor of Adventure Off-Road X YouTube channel, and they hooked all of us up with these great recovery gear bags. So we appreciate them for that.
And they are a Florida company.
They are a Florida company, and they're continuing to work on all sorts of new things. I think we just got in a thing of winch ropes that are going to have an integrated soft shackle on the end.
Nice.
Spoiler alert, they got that stuff coming. Again, those guys are working hard to
Yeah.
stay innovative and be bringing in good stuff.
Yeah, we were talking at SAVE, or Southeast Adventure Vehicle Expo.
Yep.
In the raffle, I actually won the kinetic rope and shackles in the bag, and a buddy of mine's just getting into the overland and off-road, and I gave it to him.
Yep.
And then when I went to go on a trip, I realized I couldn't find mine, so I ended up having to order another one.
One. Well, they're
but,
nice.
Hey, you pay it forward.
That's right. It's paying it forward, and so we've been. It's been nice to have that, and I had nice recovery gear in the past. There's numerous good companies out there, but it's nice to work with a Florida company and have their support and know that they're continuing to work. They're not just ordering random stuff from China and putting a label on it. They are working to have it be nice, functional things with good labels that tell you what you can expect out of those tools, and then being innovative in designing things that are going to be functional for the off-road and overland community. So
now, how soon are we going to see, we've talked about, since there's no more bed of the Gladiator, I know it's in another state right now.
Yeah, so the stock bed is still in Texas. The time it took to get everything done, go to the Moore Expo in Missouri, get the last few things wrapped up, and get home for my normal life of working and training horses and taking care of my family, the bed is still there. The plan is that I would like to build a trailer, and so it'll be welding out a frame, putting the stock bed onto that frame, using my old Rebel Explorer rack on that to be able, and then putting the old bumper on. One, to display the products. Rebel's been a good supporter for me, and to kind of pay it back and support them. We have then, between this rig and that trailer, we can really showcase a lot of the products they have. And the other thing is, I can take more with us camping if I want to bring friends along, and rooftop tent on that. As my son gets bigger, if I get a rooftop tent on this, well, my wife and I could be in that, and he could have his own, tent on that trailer. So it just expands what we're capable of doing. There's a lot of possibilities for it. So it's something I'm excited to do, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to get that back here and do.
I'm probably as excited as you are, because
I know you are.
It's gonna look really sweet.
Yeah,
tied up behind this.
The matching orange bed to the orange truck on a trailer is going to look, I think, really cool.
So Rebel's a U.S. company also. They're based out in where?
Okay, so Rebel Off-Road is in California, their main and original office, and they also have a shop in Texas, Fort Worth, and that's where I traveled to have this work done. A lot of their product is U.S. made, the bumpers, the halo racks and such. This was worked with an Australian company. Bond worked with them to do all the design. This is done to fit a 42-inch tire. That's the American style. We do bigger tires, bigger lifts and things. If you were to buy any of the other tray and canopies that are on the market currently that are being brought in from Australia and such, they have to be modified to fit that. And so the length, the width, the height, the wheel well, Bond designed all that to fit our American trucks and work seamlessly with them and the American style. And he worked with an Australian company to get that design, get that all put together, and then they are being produced overseas in China and then shipped in. So I heard him personally. I stood next to him while he said that and shared that with people at the Moore Expo, and the cost effectiveness of being able to do and produce these are big ticket items. That was something that they're trying out and doing. But a lot of their Rebel engineering products, like I mentioned, the bumpers, the halo racks and things that they do, those are made in the U.S. So
sweet. U.S. company. Tyree Lights, U.S. company.
U.S. company, made in Wisconsin.
Yep.
Okay, so we love being able to support that stuff. It's hard nowadays. There's a lot of things that are coming from overseas. I know there's a lot of people working hard to do good work, good service, good things here in the U.S., and Rebel is one of those. To be able to offer more at different price points and to keep this functional, something that Bond shared with me when he first was producing these, is that he had a price point in mind that he wanted it to be functional. And my guesstimate to myself before he told me what it was $15,000. And I said, that's reasonable to myself. And when I said, okay, I got a number picked, you tell me. And he goes, I want people to be able to get into the tray and the canopy for under 15, which no, you cannot get into any other tray and canopy even close to that. And that was his idea. And so it's a balance when it comes to some of these things. And we're all trying to struggle and figure that out.
Well, and also when we talked before, you mentioned about if you take the canopy off, it has sides for it, right?
It does. So one of the options that you can add on is the side rails for the flatbed. They actually just posted pictures on their, I think, Instagram. I think it was today. Maybe it was on one of the stories that I saw from one of the guys there, showing off those. And so they slide on to these. They fold up. This is for the latch here. And then the rear one has a latch that pulls it all together. So there's 3 sides that go on to the tray, so you can still have a tub style with that, which again makes it very functional. And so the ability to crank off and disconnect everything for the canopy and go lighter weight, a little higher speed with less, and still have that is nice. The tray itself is with the toolboxes, the trundle drawer, the water tank, is only 11 pounds more than your stock bed.
Really?
It's that much more functional. So really cool option. And they have beds coming for the Rams. They have a bobbed version coming. So it's short about here with a little toolbox, little section, and then a small canopy that's big enough to fit the refrigerator in the back. So Bond's been very hard at work to innovate and bring more to the market with these and make it fit what people are wanting. We're seeing that as a trend with the Gladiators. People really like the bobbed beds and doing that, but it's hard to have them be super functional because it's so small. Well, one way you could do that is to add a tray and a canopy. And you take care of the length out the back, which can, for rock crawling and doing bigger obstacles, can run into some trouble.
Totally. Well, good deal. So how do people, is it just rebeloffroad.com?
Rebeloffroad.com, and whether you call and talk to the shop in California, a lot of times you'll end up talking to Sean, or you talk to the guys in Fort Worth, you're going to end up talking with Steve there. Those guys are really helpful. The cool thing about Rebel is they have product. We just highlighted product that they have engineered and sell. But they also have then the shops that do work on a rig. So you can take your rig there and have stuff done. Nice. And then they have their build specialists that can help you figure out what's the right product for your needs and wants and get you your rig designed to be built. And then they have access that they can order and ship product from lots of different companies, lots of different style lifts. You want Terraflex, they can order you a Terraflex. You want rock crawl, they can order you a rock crawler. They have all that stuff. And having the community and support system of a build specialist really helps you buy once, cry once, I think is the saying. And I've experienced that myself, where if I would have just called and asked the question, what do you think about this? I'm juggling between these different ideas. It's a great source of information to help. And so it's neat that Rebel is more than just product. They have support and the shop services, and then the Rebel engineering. So pretty cool what they have available. So yeah, rebeloffroad.com, and you can follow them on Instagram. They have a YouTube channel where they show off a lot of these things and show them taking these products on adventures, putting them to test out in Colorado and Moab and all over. So.
How about if people want to follow you?
So you can follow me, the Cowboy Adventurer, on Instagram, and that's all of the Jeep content that I do. That's my kind of for fun stuff. If you want to get to know me as my work life, that's Pear Tree Ranch. I have my own YouTube channel where I offer horse training advice and tell the stories of some of the problem horses that I help and the people that I help all over the world. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Pearboy, and that's kind of my personal page that's also linked with the kind of horse life. So
and that's pear like the fruit.
Pear like the fruit. Pear like the fruit. So yeah, we're doing a lot of different things, but Pear Tree Ranch is my horse training stuff, and then the Cowboy Adventurer would be the on Instagram, the Jeep and overlanding content. And then also a big part of the Adventure Off-Road X crew. So Adventure Off-Road X on YouTube, you can follow some of my adventures there. And we love partnering and doing things and supporting guys like Daryl and all of you Crusaders.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, y'all, so I hope you enjoyed the walk around and spending time with Jake and his Jeep Gladiator JT with the Rebel off-road tray and canopy. Walking around that thing, it is just, it's sick. I mean, it's just so cool. There's so many options that can be done to it, and this is just the beginning for him. I know he has more plans for that. I know we also talked about him wanting to do a trailer out of his original bed of the Gladiator. So really looking forward to some really cool things coming from Jake and everything he's going to do with the Jeep JT with the Rebel off-road train canopy. So with that, I hope you enjoyed everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, make some comments, definitely share, and as always, God bless, and I hope to see each and every one of you on your own adventure. Take care, guys.